I was not expecting a video about a bullet journal to be the first I posted to YouTube, but it's probably fairly fitting. I'm BK and this is BK Makes. In this episode, BK's making a plan.
Master Plan, Phase 1, Side A.
In starting this channel, I wanted to get more organized. I wanted to get focused, consistent, more productive. I'd been using a pile of electronic apps on my phone and my computer. That included Airtable, Evernote, Google Keep, iOS Notes, Streaks, and Todoist, and was finding that once entered, that information was easily forgotten. I'd read Cal Newport's book Deep Work and wanted to start planning in advance. And that led me to bullet journaling, or Bujo for short. There are a wealth of options out there, from those that are pre-populated with prompts, headers, and questions, to those that are completely blank and minimalistic, with a wide range of graph and dot gridded options in between. I ended up with a popular fan favorite from Japan. This is the 2021 Hobonichi Planner. This A6 size is the only one that comes in English, has this black faux leather cardstock cover, foil printed with the Te, Cho, and the Japanese boutique Arts and Science crossed keys logo.
Get me Monsieur George at the Chateau Lux, please.
Under the front cover, you've got another fairly thin cardstock page, and then a title page here, and then the year at a glance with 2021, 2022. The pages are Tomoe River paper, which is very thin, allowing us to hold over 400 pages. And while it's bleed resistant to water-based inks, you can see text through it. Following that, you've got 8 pages of monthlies indexed vertically, starting in December 2020, ending in March 2022. Then you get into the more common monthly spreads. You've got Sundays in red, you've got your new moon, full moon, the weekly numbers for the year, and plenty of room on the sides and bottom for notes. This again runs December 2020 through to March of 2022. Then you've got a full page spread of graph paper measuring 34 by 24, with the squares being 4 millimeters, slightly smaller at 3.75 millimeters in the Japanese versions. Each month starts with a single blank page with 20 faint lines on it, and then you get into the dailies. On the daily pages, we've got the date, day, month, week. We've got the lunar phase. There's no numbers at the bottom, so this day of the year beneath the lunar calendar makes another handy reference. On the left, you've got a column for times with 12 and a dinner icon populated. At the bottom, you've got a quote from a Japanese personality, and then a monthly at a glance. Sundays are all highlighted in red-orange text, with the tabs on the right being the month's number. At the end of the dailies, there's 18 dot grid pages laid out in 24 by 36 squares, with 2.5 mil margins at the top and bottom, and 2 mil margins along the left and right sides. Then you've got space for 7 important contacts, international size chart, conversion table, and ruler, and then a My 100 list. And you've got some Japanese breads, which look fantastic. The last page has space for contact details and a cardstock page with the serial number. The Hobonichi has special 180-degree lay-flat binding, which is supposed to allow it to lay completely flat without having to hold it down, though it's not as obedient as something you'd see in a ring-bound notebook.
Sit.
Chief, sit.
I don't sit.
In personalizing my hobo, I've started off utilizing the cardstock page for my picture, quote, and word of the year.
You think the honey badger cares? It doesn't give a shit.
Come on, BK. You know the only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary.
Content will always be king.
Then I've got a key, fairly similar to the key used by Ryder Carroll, the inventor of the bullet journal. I'm using this spread for reference, and we'll start to track things like when to launder my sheets, clean my bathroom, that sort of thing. I'm using the indexed monthlies as a habit tracker, space for 10 habits at the top. The month's numbers are at the top here, which I've written over, so instead I've used a gray mild liner to write them in much larger font around mid-page. And I've left some space blank for changing up my habits. I'm using the conventional monthlies for recording gratitudes. I'd read a study that said that doing it on a daily basis was not as beneficial as doing it weekly, so that's what I'm doing now. I've split my daily sheets roughly by the golden mean, which when excluding the column for time is 8 squares and 14 squares. This section is for planning the day in half-hour increments, then my top 3 priorities, work tasks, personal tasks, notes, and daily review. Shout out to Yukiko Sakimura for this layout idea. The fun stuff for me starts at the dot grids, with the first being my long-term 10-year plus goals broken down into categories like career, financial, etc. And I still have some work to do on those. And I've got medium-term and short-term goals, all with the same categories. Here I've got a YouTube subscriber tracker. It runs for 3 years, uses a log scale to include all possibilities. These vinyl stickers were created on a Cricut Maker, which I'll show you here. This was the first time I've ever actually used the Cricut Maker, and it was surprisingly easy. This is just a post-it notes tab that I'm using. Next up is 3 months of workout tracking progress, which is actually a modified version of Brad Pitt's Fight Club workout.
First rule of Fight Club is, you do not talk about Fight Club.
This page I'm using as an expense tracker, this one as an investment tracker. Here I've got a spot for ideas or brain dump, good quotes I want to remember. I've split my top 100 list into tool wish list, tech wish list, things I want to read, things I want to learn, places I want to travel to. And then we're back to the breads. And there just happens to be a Japanese bread shop in my city.